Students, everyone is here.
Yes, sir.
So, shall we start?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So, you guys able to see the whiteboard, right? So, all of you are able to see the whiteboard, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so we'll see about this tertiary structure as well as the quaternary structure. Okay. So last class we saw about the like primary structure as well as the secondary structure, the features of primary as well as the secondary structure. So there is one more secondary structure that is called beta turn. Okay, so beta turn mostly it will involve only four residues. Okay, so only four residues. So what it will do is it will reverse the direction of the chain. Okay, so if you have like a polypeptide chain, hold on a second. So you can see on the board. So it will reverse the direction just like this. Okay. So say this is the first amino acid, and this is second amino acid, and this is third amino acid, and this is fourth amino acid. All right. So if you have like 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So assume like you have like a like alpha helix or beta strand or whatever. Okay, so you have like a strand running parallel together. Okay, so if you want to suppose you have like N terminal here, and this is like C terminal, and the chain is running like this in this direction. Okay, if you want to reverse this direction, so you need the beta turn, which is having only four residue. Okay, so here there will be hydrogen bonding. Okay, so between like first and fourth amino acid, so you will have the hydrogen bonding 1 to 4. So if you have like this type of arrangement, okay, only you should have the hydrogen bonding between first and fourth amino acid, then it is called like a beta turn. All right. Otherwise, it's simply turn. It will not be called as a beta turn. It will be a turn. That's all. So, in normally, the turn will reverse the direction. The number of amino acid present in the turn may vary. Okay. Suppose you have two strands running like this, and you may have something like what I will do is I will reverse the change the color here. Okay, so some you may have like a lot of amino acids here. Okay, so it may run like so many residues, and it will reverse the strand. It will reverse the direction. Okay, but in beta turn it will involve only four amino acid. Okay, very shortly it will turn the direction of the chain, polypeptide chain. All right. So do you understand? Students, you are following me or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's good. So let's see the tertiary structure. All right. So tertiary structure as well as the quaternary structure. So tertiary structure is generally indicated by like a 3 and a degree. It's not like a 3 degree. Okay, it's called like a tertiary structure. And similarly, like quaternary structure, it will be indicated with like 4 O. Okay, in the superscript. Okay, the tertiary structure, so it is a collection of all the secondary structures. So in the secondary structure, you have like a alpha helix and you have like a beta sheet or like a beta strands. Okay, so the arrangement of this alpha helix or beta strand, okay, so maybe it will form the tertiary structure. So this tertiary structure may be just formed by only by alpha helix, all right, or only by beta strand. Okay, so any type of or like mixed type also present, both alpha helix as well as the beta strand. Together, it can form a tertiary structure. So what it will do, once you have like a tertiary structure, first thing is it will make a compact. Okay. So what I will do is, I think I can type. So it will make like a compact structure, or you can say like a regular three-dimensional structure. Okay, so then it can make like a biologically. Okay, so biological function it may carry. All right, so that's all. The like a regular structure as well as the function. It will form a from the tertiary structure. Okay, so then quaternary structure is like multiple tertiary structures comes together. Okay, two or more polypeptide chain can come together and it can make a quaternary structure. So some protein may be like functional by only by single polypeptide chain. Okay, or some protein may be functional by multiple polypeptide chain. Okay, so the oligomers, the number of oligomeric chain may be different. Okay, so as I told you in the previous class, like a ribozyme, you have like a several polypeptides. All right. So depending upon the protein, okay. So depending upon the protein, the association of like this polypeptide chain will vary. All right. So then, so what are all the like features that is making the tertiary structure? So the important thing is like first thing is So basically, in like a tertiary structure, there are like some factors involved, okay, in the formation of like the three-dimensional structure, okay. So the organization of like secondary structures like motif and domains, okay, and then optimization of like interaction between like residues, and then like a specific three-dimensional structure is like formed, okay. So these are the like main thing in the formation of like a tertiary structure. In order to form like a tertiary structure, you need basically these interactions like electrostatic interaction or like ionic interaction, okay. And then you have like a hydrogen bonding interaction, and thirdly you have like a hydrophobic interaction, okay. So without these interactions, it's not possible to make like a three-dimensional structure, or it's not possible to make a tertiary structure, okay. So soluble proteins, so there are like two types of protein. One is like soluble protein and another is insoluble protein. What is insoluble protein? What is soluble protein? Okay, so soluble proteins is generally, it is soluble in all the solvents. So insoluble proteins, if you put these insoluble proteins in the general solvent, okay, that will become precipitant. It will not be soluble. Okay, for example, membrane protein. So membrane proteins is made up of like mostly hydrophobic amino acid. So if you put the membrane protein in normal solvents, in normal buffers, so it will become like precipitate or it will degrade. All right. Whereas like all the globular protein, it is soluble. You can dissolve in any buffer or any solvent. So in order to make membrane protein into soluble, so you have to add some detergents, because detergents is you have like most of the hydrophobic and hydrophilic terminal. So the hydrophobic head, it will enhance the solubility of the membrane protein into the solvent. Okay. Okay. So now, so for the like proteins to make a three-dimensional structure, you need to have like three types of interaction, like ionic interaction or electrostatic interaction, then hydrogen bonding, and then hydrophobic interactions. And the soluble proteins have, you know, soluble proteins, they have like a hydrophilic side as well as hydrophobic side. Okay. So hydrophilic side, you will have like all the charged amino acids. Okay. And then hydrophobic side, you will have the hydrophobic amino acids. Okay. So these are like general feature of the tertiary structure for like any soluble proteins. So if you look into the ionic interaction, okay, or the electrostatic interaction, okay, so there are some residues which will favor the formation of electrostatic interaction or like ionic interaction. So all the charged amino acids, for example, like glutamate, aspartate, aspartic acid, lysine, arginine, histidine. So all these amino acids, right? So these are like a charged amino acids, like polar amino acids. So these amino acids can involve in the electrostatic interaction. Okay. So the electrostatic interaction is like among these three interactions, the electrostatic interaction is like a very strong interaction. All right. You guys, do you follow me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you are able to understand, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
just take notes, note down the things, whatever that I am discussing, because there is no way that I can convey the message in online. All right. So the ionic interaction or like electrostatic interaction is a very strong interaction in the protein. Okay. But the number of ionic interaction found in protein will be very less. Okay. maybe like you can find out like only like 3 or 4 ionic interactions. Okay, this ionic interaction also called like a salt bridge. Okay, salt bridge. The salt bridge, it can form between for positively charged to negatively charged amino acid. So most of the time these charged residues will be present at the surface of the protein. Okay, so you will have like one polypeptide chain running over here, you have like another polypeptide chain here. Okay, so you have like positively charged from here and negatively charged from here, they can come closer and it can form a salt bridge. Okay, so it will make a very strong interaction in such a way these two polypeptides are held together. All right, so it can form between two polypeptide chain, or within single polypeptide chain also it can make a salt bridge. Okay, bridge. Okay, like pH, if you alter the pH, okay, it may affect the formation of salt bridge. So it depends upon the pKa value. All right, and so this is the like important features that are in the ionic interaction or like salt bridge or whatever. Okay, so the second thing is hydrogen bonding. Okay, so what is the hydrogen bond? Can anybody define? So I told you what is salt bridge, ionic interaction. So what is hydrogen bond?
The hydrogen makes bond with electronegative atoms such as nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. The
So hydrogen, yes,
bonds with electronegative atoms such as oxygen, fluorine, and
bond with
nitrogen.
bond. Do you mean like it is making bond with electronegative atoms?
Yeah, mostly oxygen. These three atoms are highly electronegative.
Anyone else can say better? Can anybody say better answer than this? Okay, so generally, like students, like you guys, like thinking when we talk about like hydrogen bond means, the thing is like you are assuming the hydrogen is making a bond with some nitrogen or oxygen, something like that. So okay, so hydrogen bond means it's not a bond. Okay, it is an interaction. You should remember it. Suppose like you just check this whiteboard. So if I say here like something like carbon and hydrogen, okay. So we have like we know like CH4. So right, methane or CH3 methyl group. All right. So the carbon is bonded with hydrogen atom. It's a single bond. Okay, it is a covalent bond. So here in covalent bond, it is sharing like one electron from carbon and one electron from hydrogen. So that's why it is making a covalent bond. Okay, it is a CH bond. It's a single bond. All right, but hydrogen bond is not a covalent bond. Don't assume that hydrogen is making a bond with nitrogen or oxygen. It is interaction only. Here in carbon hydrogen, it is single bond. The bond distance will be 1.54 angstrom unit. All right. So the bond distance will be 1.54 angstrom unit. It's a covalent bond distance. All right. Whereas the hydrogen bonding distance will be starting from 2.3 angstrom unit. All right. So 2.3 to 3.2 angstrom unit. So remember the hydrogen bonding distance. Okay, so people like whenever I am asking the question, so always this question I am repeatedly asking in the in your examination. All right, so everybody repeatedly writing the same wrong answer. You will write like hydrogen is making a bond with nitrogen or oxygen. Don't say like that. Okay, that means if you are writing like this means you do not understand the thing. All right. So interaction. So interaction between like electronegative as well as electropositive. Okay. You see the definition clearly. It is the hydrogen is shared between donor and acceptor. You have the donor and you have the acceptor here. So the bonding, the interaction distance, it should be between 2.3 to 3.2 angstrom unit. It cannot come closer than 2.3 angstrom. If it is coming 2.3 angstrom less than, closer than 2.3 angstrom means, then there will be steric hindrance. There will be steric hindrance because 1.54 is the covalent bond distance. It's already covalently linked with some oxygen or nitrogen. If you push together, if you push too much closer than 2.3, then steric interaction will be there. So there is no way it can make a covalent link with like another atom. All right, it is just like a interaction. So just remember this. And the like 2.3 to 3.2 angstrom unit. And there is angle also. Just check the whiteboard. That angle. Okay, so there will be some angle also. So the range of angle also is very limited. Okay, it cannot go less than 120 degree. Okay, so 120 to 120 to 180 degrees favorable angle in order to make a hydrogen bonding interaction. All right. So this hydrogen bonding is present everywhere in the protein. So assume like you have like a globular protein. So around this globular protein, you will see n number of hydrogen bonding. Without hydrogen bonding, there is no protein because the secondary structure, the alpha helix which is running, you have like n to n plus 4 hydrogen bonding interaction. And you have like a beta strand which is running like this and another beta strand. And I told you, in between these two, you have the hydrogen bonding. Okay, so without hydrogen bonding, there is no protein. So the number of hydrogen bonding will be large in number. Okay, you guys follow me?
Yes, sir.
So there are like several amino acids like glutamate, aspartate, right? So charged side chains. So glutamate, aspartate, histidine, lysine, arginine, and polar chains like serine, threonine, cysteine, asparagine. So all these amino acids can contribute the hydrogen bonding. Not only these charged amino acids, even like hydrophobic amino acid, the side chain of hydrophobic amino acid can also participate in like hydrogen bonding interaction. Okay, so it will present in the interior of the protein, at the outer surface, exterior of the protein, everywhere the hydrogen bonding interaction will be present in the protein. Whereas the salt bridge, I told you, you can find out only in certain place, not everywhere. All right. So mostly it will be found at the surface of the protein. Okay. So now we go to the third type of interaction, that is hydrophobic interaction. So the hydrophobic interaction, we have the hydrophobic amino acid like the amino acids which is having aliphatic side chains like alanine, valine, leucine, proline, methionine. So these amino acid, which is having the aliphatic side chain, and aromatic amino acid, which is like a phenylalanine, tryptophan, and tyrosine. So all these amino acids can have the interaction. Okay, so that is called like a hydrophobic interaction. So energetically, electrostatic interaction is very strong, and then hydrogen bonding, hydrophobic interaction. Okay, so the weak interaction is hydrophobic interaction. Okay, but the thing is, the stability for the overall stability for the protein is mainly contributed by hydrogen bonding. Okay, so you can see like several analyses which makes the stable structure for the protein. Okay, which gives the contribution. There are like several papers, like even this hydrophobic interaction also play a major role uh, to the stability of the protein. There are several papers that you can check. Okay, here the hydrophobic interaction is not like pH dependent. Okay, so these are like general features that I told you. Okay, so as I told you, the what is it? The salt bridge is very strong interaction, but the contribution of the salt bridge for the stability will be very less. Whereas hydrogen bonding, the contribution of hydrogen bonding will be very high because hydrogen bonding is more in number. And similarly, hydrophobic interaction also, if it is more in number, the stability may be due to the hydrophobic interaction as well. Okay, and so these are the major like three interactions that I was discussing. Apart from this, there is one more interaction, okay, which makes the polypeptide chains to have a compact fold. Okay, so the polypeptide chain, it can run something like this, but when like two polypeptides is just running like this, okay, they can come closer when it is making a disulfide bridge, disulfide bond. Okay, so assume you have like a two cysteine residue. So uh, uh, just check this whiteboard. Okay, so I have like one polypeptide running like this, another polypeptide running like this. Okay, so I have like one cysteine here and another cysteine here. Okay, so what will happen if they come closer? All right, so it can make a disulfide bond. All right, so that this polypeptide will come closer. All right, so this
Sir,
polypeptide will come. Yes,
sir, we are not able to hear you, sir.
my audio is not coming to you.
Not able to hear you. Hear your sound, sir.
Can you hear now?
Am I audible?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are able to listen to me, right?
Yes, sir.
You are able to listen to me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I don't know. My cell phone is fell down, so after that I think problem. So when from you are not able to, I was talking for a long time. So just now you are informing me. How long I was not audible? Students? Hello?
Sir, actually, we heard you actually. I think he has a problem.
Yeah. Can you tell now?
Yes, sir.
So how long I was not audible?
Sir, you were audible actually.
What?
Sir, you are audible.
No, somebody complained just now that I was not audible.
Sir, you are audible. I think there's a problem in his mic. You are audible to all of us.
So you followed whatever that I was discussing about like a disulfur bridge.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just let me know immediately, okay? Because I'm afraid that I have to repeat like entire thing. Okay. So if you see the disulfide bridge, okay, in the protein you may the like single polypeptide may be running like this, another polypeptide may run like this. But if you have like a disulfide like cysteine residue, it can reduce, okay, cysteine into cysteine, and it can make a covalent bond, so that these two polypeptides can come closer, and it can make a like a compact core. All right. So the disulfide bridge, it restricts the flexibility of the protein. Okay. So it will give the compactness for the protein. Okay. So you may have like one domain running over here, and you have another domain running over here, and which is connected with the like a single chain, single polypeptide. But they will be like very far away. But if you have like a 16 between two of these domains, you can have a compact core by making a disulfide bond. Okay. So these like four type of interaction that I was discussing with you. These are like major interactions. Okay. Uh, so who is next hour?
Sir, we have Mohan sir class now.
No, I'm not. Your voice is very low.
Sir, we have Mohan sir's class now.
Oh, Mohan Kumar. Okay. So next we have to see this quaternary structure. Okay, so maybe we can discuss this in next class tomorrow. Right? We have